All right, welcome everybody. So we have a special guest today, Katie Hovey, and she's going to be sharing some Instagram and just stories and social media tips with us so that we can all have more exciting looking content and attract some more followers. So Katie, I don't think you've been even coaching for a year, right? Yeah, and you're inching closer to that next rank. So go ahead and take it away.
So this is really a full circle ironic moment because when I first started coaching, I had never made one story ever, like beyond reposting a memory, which I didn't add anything to. So it's just funny that I'm doing this. Okay, so I thought hopefully you have your phone because we're going to go through some things together. But there were some questions posted on the team page that I was going to address first. And then I had a couple of tricks I was going to mention. And then I thought if there's anything left, you can ask questions and I can see if I know or somebody knows the answer. So the first thing, like the basics, someone asked what's the most streamlined way to do it. So I do pretty much everything on the Instagram app except for my workouts. I record in Hyperlapse so I can speed them up. So that's actually an app. I don't know if Android has it, but I have an iPhone.
That is the main one that Android does have, but I do know there's like a number of ones for iPhones and stuff.
Like this. I don't know if you can see it. The little circle. So I just record my workout in there. I find that works better to make like small chunks rather than recording the entire thing because then it's too big to save, at least for me. So I'll do, like if there's 5 rounds, I will do, each round as a separate chunk. And then in Hyperlapse, I usually save it on number 2 speed. Just I find that's like fast enough, but still you can see what I'm doing. And that's another thing I find when I'm watching people's workouts, when they're super fast, you can see that they're working out, but you can't see the moves. And seeing the moves is what intrigued me when I was watching Brittany. Because they were different than what I was doing. So I like to slow it down a little bit and like actually show the moves I'm doing. So then after I record in Hyperlapse, I have been using Triller lately. I have an iPhone, Emily asked. Some people use TikTok. I don't know if there's probably other apps that can add video clips together, but I have been using Triller and I like it. And you can add the music right on there. So I don't know if you want me to walk through. Do you want me to walk through that or just overview?
What do you
Walking through.
play around with that app maybe?
Yeah, if we get extra time, we'll just go back to that one.
Okay. Okay, so then in Triller, when you're done making your video, you can just save it. So I just save it to my phone and then I go to my Instagram app and click on my stories and I just select it from my photos and upload it that way. The other thing was someone asked about the short GIF style clips. So on the Instagram app, if you click on, okay, I'll just start from the very beginning. So in the upper left corner, there's a little camera. So that's how you get to your stories. And then if you scroll along the bottom, the little white words, one of them says boomerang. And that is how you make the little clips that kind of like go back and forth. So if you select boomerang, then you can scroll through. I don't know if you have filters that you have on there. This is horrible. But I usually try to select a filter just because it makes it more interesting to look at. You don't have to, but, and the way I find those is just going through Instagram, people that I follow, and if I like something, I just click save filter so that it's on there when I am ready to make a story. So I think you can actually browse to add them too. But I just save what I like from people that I follow. If you are watching their story, it says at the top, you can save effect. So I just click that and then it adds to your list at the bottom. Does that make sense? you seen that before? Okay. And then for adding music, so if you go on your story, that little camera at the upper left-hand corner, and just take a picture of what's in front of you. Then if you click on the little Post-it note, it's like a little square with a smiley face on the top. It says music as one of your options. So if you click on that, you can either browse by topics or genres, I guess, or you can just type in the name of a song. Or like if it's a video of my kids, I will type in kids or summer or whatever I feel is pertinent to the video. And you can find whatever song you want there. Once you click on it, you can drag it through the lyrics if you want to. Sorry, I clicked on one. If you want a certain part of the song, this little bar at the bottom, you can drag it through the song to have it on the exact part that you want it on. I didn't see any other questions on the post that Brittany did, so I was just going to say a few tips on top of that that I guess I've picked up along the way. So make sure you have good lighting when you're making videos. So with my workouts, I use a ring light. If you have one of those, it just helps to brighten it up. Or if you're going to be talking or if you're taking a picture, you stand by a window because natural light is good too if you don't have a ring light. Try to keep it interesting. I try to think about when I'm watching people's stories, what is interesting to me and who keeps my attention and who am I just clicking through and what are they doing and what are the boring ones doing. So you're trying to attract your people, so do what's interesting to you. For me, I like to break it up. So if I'm talking, I try not to talk beyond 4 slides just because I feel like it gets long. So you get 4 15-second slides on a story. So try to keep it to 4. And also you have to add the little captions. Otherwise, if people watch on mute, you're just a bobblehead talking and they don't know what you're saying and they're just gonna skip right through. Also, when you're adding captions, try to keep it concise. Because I know if I'm looking at a story and and I've done this a few times because I have so much to say, sometimes I think I just need to make it more concise because if there's words everywhere, it's overwhelming and I'm probably just gonna click right through it. So try to keep it concise, keep it fun, add a GIF in there, add some animated words. The way you can do that, if you so just take a picture of what's in front of you, go to that little square smiley face again, click on the one that says GIF, and it's kind of like Facebook Messenger, where you get these little pictures. You can type in, whatever you're talking about, or, if it's a picture of my kids, sometimes I type in love or heart or whatever, and then it will pull up the GIFs that go with that topic. So then you can just put it on your screen. You can make it bigger, smaller, drag it around, that type of thing. So like I said, I like to break it up. So I will have talking, then I might have a boomerang, then I might have a picture with a GIF on it. I also like to add hashtags because I feel like, I don't think I've ever gotten any followers this way, but I just feel like it brings more views to my story. So maybe somebody would happen to pop in there and relate to something and check out my profile. Adding music just makes it more interesting if you're not talking. Let's see, check my notes.
Katie, I have one
Sorry.
question. No, sorry to interrupt. One question that someone asked me this week to have you cover was, how do you decide like your topics that you either talk about or put on the stories? How do you decide those?
So for me personally, it's just what I'm feeling that day. And if I make a post about it, we talked about this at some point, it's okay to reuse your content. So that's an easy way to have something to talk about. If you just wrote a post and you spent all that time writing your post, go on your stories and talk about your post. You don't have to like re-say it word for word, but just add in a little extra tidbit. Or another thing I was going to say, at first I felt so weird just talking about myself all the time and made me feel a little bit narcissistic. But if you shift your mindset to you're serving people, you're trying to provide them value, that's another thing. Try to mix in tips and tricks and, you know, what you're eating, or here's this really cool tip I learned for XYZ. If you add that in there, it just makes it a whole different feeling than you're just constantly talking about yourself, because that's not a good feeling to have. Oh, I'm not going to go through this, but I just Googled to figure it out, but you can link your Facebook and your Instagram so that so I do everything from Instagram, and then it just automatically uploads to my Facebook through the settings. And I'm pretty sure if you just go to your profile and the 3 lines at the top, it's under settings there. I know I've done a creator account, I think that's what it's called. But you can link your Facebook page right to your Instagram, so then you don't have to. And if you can't figure it out, you can just save those things to your phone and upload them that way. But I find that it's just faster and easier to have them linked. And I know I asked Alexa when I did this months ago and she helped me, but I can honestly not remember what I did. And a lot of it I just Googled. And that's another thing, if you ever don't know, just Google it, because the answer is out there and you can find it, or ask me. So for text, just play around with it. I think iPhone and Android are have different texts because I feel like they look different. But if you have an iPhone and you go to the one called Classic, so if you type something, does everyone know how to type something? Yes. Okay, then at the top, there's that little box. It adds a background to it. So it makes it have that like white box. If you click it again on Classic, it makes it go to like a transparent background. So it's kind of like a highlighted text, which changes the look of it too. Play around with different texts, adding words bigger and smaller and all caps and all lower. And also if you have like a sentence, you can highlight a word and change the color of it can you see this, or is this totally pointless that I'm doing this?
It's kind of hard to see, but
So if you just use your cursor and select whatever word you want to change, then you can pick a color and make words stand out that way. What was I gonna say? Something about, if you want to change the background of your story, if you go to the little squiggle line, for me, it's second from the right next to the text. And then at the bottom, it will have all the colors. If you just pick a color and then hold down on your screen, it will change your background to that color if you want a color. And then if you go to that little square Post-it smiley face, if you scroll down, there's a place where you can add, one of them has I'm not even gonna show you because you can't see, but one of them has a little camera. It's a circle with a camera in it. And one has a circle with like a little picture in it. So you can add videos or pictures to your background that way. Everyone see what I'm talking about? Okay.
can you show me that I don't think Android has this option, but I could be wrong. Can you try and show me your screen on that one?
So
If you hold your hand behind it, it might help like focus. Maybe a little bit. No. Okay.
sorry.
No, it's not.
For me, they have the little quiz and then they have the temperature and then there's a circle with the camera in it. And I'm pretty sure, That one makes this weird little, so you can like put your face in there. Or you can like blur out what's around your picture. It will just have like a circle with your picture. So pick the one with the square in it. So that one has pictures and videos. So then it just brings you right to your camera roll, and you can just pick whatever from your camera roll.
Brittany, I think Android could do that for a little while, and then they took it off. Because I used to be able to add a picture from my camera roll, and then now that's not even an option anymore.
Okay. I don't see that. Yeah. That's the one thing I'm like, I'm gonna figure this out, and I've spent too much time researching it and I've never figured it out.
Brittany, you lost the ability to add music. You have an Android. You have an iPhone? I can add music. Maybe you just need to update your app, you think?
I've had that at times, like depending on a week. Like I'll lose certain things and then they'll come back.
That's weird. Another thing I try to do is make them interactive. I know we kind of talk about this, but people like to participate in your posts. So I like to use the little scrolling heart eyes. If you click on it, you can change actually what they scroll. So you can make it like high fives or whatever emoji you want. So that's kind of fun. Does everyone know what I'm talking about? Yes. Okay. Honestly, I just encourage you to play around with it. That's what I did. Just play around with it, see what the different things do. Seems like they're adding new features all the time. Another tip, if you have taken a video and there's some talking on it that you don't like, or if your kids are saying something weird, I like to add music over those ones, just then I don't have to redo it or feel weird about posting it. Or you can always mute it too. If you go to the little sound icon, just click on it and there'll be a line through it, and that will mean that nobody can hear the sound for that video clip. Let's see. Does anyone have any questions about anything? Scrolling question.
Kelly's asking about where was that heart scrolling thing, the interactive thing you're talking about?
Oh, so like if you take a picture and you go to that little square post-it with the face, that's kind of where everything is. If you scroll down just a little bit, it's like a sliding heart eyes. For me, there's like time, poll, questions, challenge, DM me, countdown, and then it's there. I will try to show it, but it looks like this little, I don't know if you can see it, little sliding smiley thing. So then if you click on it, then it has all the different emojis at the bottom. And if you scroll all the way over to the right, there's a plus. And if you click on that, then it lets you add any that are in your phone as an option. And you can either type whatever you're asking about actually in that box, or you can, sometimes I like to add my own text around it and just throw it in there just for something interactive to do for somebody watching. I will say though, sometimes I forget to go back and look. So after you post it, if you go to your story, you can see the results and see who interacted on there. But the new way that Candace, I think, mentioned about hit the react button if blah, 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 that one will actually go to your DMs because they're reacting on your posts, which is easier to keep track of. So I prefer that, but I'm not getting much, people aren't biting on that one for me too much.
And if you do ever forget to go back and look, you can go in your archives and it'll still save it. So you still can go back and message people, because I forget all the time, or I'll even do a poll and I'm like, oh, it's been more than 24 hours. You can go back in your archived stories and actually see who did that. Good to know.
And even if those polls aren't about coaching, like if they're just about things that you like, it's a great way to message someone back and start a conversation. And you don't have to talk anything about coaching, but yeah, so just interactive and just be yourself.
I feel like a lot of my conversations start about non-coaching things, like awkward things my kids are doing or food I'm eating, or just like the small talk kind of things. And then that opens the door to have a conversation later about coaching, at least for me. I don't bring it up right away. Seems more natural that way to just connect about something in my stories or in their stories. And then, you know, now that you're talking, maybe try to keep going to them and interacting. And then if it comes up that they have watched your workout, or when it feels natural, then I try to say something.
Yeah, and when you're posting awesome content every day and putting stuff on your stories every day, it will come up because there's no way they're not going to see it. There's a good question in the chat. How do you set up the highlight photos? I'm assuming she's talking about the highlights on Instagram where people have on their homepage like the circle dots across. How do you do that?
Okay. So after you make a story, at the bottom, there's a little heart that says highlight. So if you click on that, you can either press the plus to add a new, or you can add it to any of your, if you have other highlights on there. So if you would click on new, then it gives you the option to make a title. And let's see. Whoops, I just added it to one. If you add it and you didn't mean to, you can just click on that little heart again and it will take it out. So after you have your highlights, if you press and hold on the little circle, it will give you delete highlight, edit highlight, copy highlight link. So if you click on edit, then there you can edit the cover. And I purchased these cute little covers on Etsy. They're pretty cheap. Or you can just Google images if you want them all to be kind of matchy, or some people have just colors, or some people have words. It's kind of fun to express yourself through the little pictures you can add on there. Oh, that's true. Candace said Canva, WordSwag, those apps where you can make your text look fun. I suppose you could write something and save it and then upload it that way too.
If anybody's new and wondering like what is a highlight, go to some of our pages. I think a lot of us have them, and just you can be creative. It's a great spot for like it's your profile. So if you want one of your highlights to be, if you love to cook, maybe you have one for recipes that people can click and get a whole bunch of ideas, or maybe you tell your story and then you put them in a highlight so people could always go back and click and find out, well, who is this girl? So there's lots of things you can put on highlights. You can be creative. Anybody else with questions? Anybody going once, twice? Katie, anything else? This was really good.
Just don't be afraid to play around with it, or find people who are like visually interesting to you and try to copy what they do. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, just make it look nice.
I agree. And vice versa, because you mentioned you can learn so much from the accounts that you think are boring, and just don't do that.
I have a couple things that I think are cool, but you can like slow down boomerang. So if you take one, do you guys know this? So you take your boomerang and then, hold on 1 second now. Do you guys already know this? Maybe this is an Android thing then. So you click on your boomerang, you take it, and then there is a, that one right there, infinity symbol, and then down here you have other options once you click on that. And so you can slow-mo, I think. So that one, then there's like an echo which I don't really like that one in a dual, but I like the slow-mo option. So that's something I learned and I thought was pretty fun. And then, oh, you guys, and maybe you already know this one too, but I just learned this yesterday and I shouldn't be this excited, but I totally am. You can do arrow, like you could do a line and it finishes it with an arrow. Oh my gosh. I'm like, how are you people doing this? Because I'm like, I would try to make an arrow and it would suck. So anyways, for those of you who don't know, it is a game changer. And that is under your squiggly line. It's the second one in that has an arrow, which sounds so funny. So I wonder if that's new, because I don't know if I've been really missing that for like the last 2 years.
It's fairly new.
Oh, good.
I feel like I've seen it for a while, but I've only been on here for 8 months, so.
Yeah. No,
It's
I'm
like
kidding.
2 months old, but not that much. That's a good point about this screen though, because that squiggly line can erase something. It can give you like a bright like neon line, a highlight thing you could put behind the text to see it better. So that's a good tool as well.
Yeah. So with the brush stroke, like play around with them, but there's one that like I like to do behind text. So like I like to, make my squiggle of whatever and then like change up the size of a different brush in a different color and just kind of give like different, decorative things to it. But like Katie said too, like your main goal is to attract people for 15 seconds and to keep them entertained that whole entire time. You don't want to just be a bobblehead and whatnot, because you would be, and if you are talking and not doing text, I challenge you to ask your people if they are watching with the sound on or off, because I think you'll be really surprised to know, I think it's probably like 90% of the people are watching with the sound off. So if you are not adding text, yeah, you're not at it, it's like when you're in bed, you're doing something quiet, somebody's sitting next to you, it's like the chances of somebody having their sound on is pretty rare. So keep that in mind, because otherwise if you are telling and selling and pitching your boot camp and they don't have sound on, they didn't hear a word you said. And so again, make sure that you just keep everybody, or like your plan is to serve and your plan is to keep them entertained every 15 seconds. So just something to think about as you move into posting your story. So, okay. Those are my exciting things I had to share.
I love to combo talking about a group or something and adding text to my talk, and then adding some slides that are just text and pictures saying the same exact thing, but just making sure that if you didn't listen here, you can read it here. So I like to do that. Plus it breaks up, like Katie was saying, it gives you a video, a still of it, so you're almost like a commercial, but you don't want to have the same thing over and over. I love it. Okay. Anything else, Katie? Anybody else with questions or like things that you would know are super exciting, like Brittany's, that you're like, do you guys know this? Because maybe we don't.
Look.
I didn't know you could hold down on the screen and get the background color to change. I've used the highlight one and like tried to cover the whole thing. And I'm like, how do they do this? Because I keep slipping up. So you learn something new every day.
Brittany, will you explain that one again?
Which one's
Background?
that? Oh, so the background one, you have a couple different options when you do it. So you either have you upload a picture and then you're under the brush stroke, the squiggly line. If you go the first brush and you hold it down, it will do your entire screen. If you go to the one that's like a wider brush, like a calligraphy brush, and you hold it down, it'll go transparent. So you can kind of play with that too. I know when you do, I haven't figured out which one it is, but I think it's when you share a post and it puts in like an icky background color. I'm gonna try this. Yeah,
It's the first one. I'm pretty sure. The little pen.
That's genius, because some of those background colors that match are disgusting.
Yeah, so like I'm sharing my post and it's
Yeah.
like a maroon, whatever, and I just want it white. I can just simply hold it down. Psych. There we go. And it turns it like all white. I know you can't do it for every situation like that when you put a picture in, but I think when you share a story, like you use that little airplane. Oh, maybe does everyone know how to share? Do we need to talk about that? I
You're
can't
gonna do that. Like if you have your own post and you want to put it in your story too, yeah, tell people how to do that.
So when you are on your feed, and you have this little airplane guy here, and actually you can do this on like if you came across a really fun tip or something that you want to share to your people because it fits your niche, you can simply click on that, and then the first one will say like add to stories. And so you just click that, and then you can add your text and, you know, point them in the direction of that. That's a fun option. And then if you click on the picture, it can like do a couple different ways. So it can either be the picture square, or if you click on it again, it'll have like a sentence or like the first part of what their post says. And then
I have
something.
a question.
Yeah.
I have a question, maybe you know, because there must be a better way when you are sharing a post and then you want to add like GIFs or text or something over it. My stuff always gets lost behind the picture. Does anyone else struggle with that? Like, and it drives me insane. And then I have to like drag everything around the side and try to pull it back. And is there like a way around that I just don't know, or is that just crappy?
Not that I'm aware of, because I know what you're talking about. And then I also noticed the last few days, like all my GIFs always were on top, no matter what, on top of text and everything else. So when I line it up, that's the way it looks. And then when I've been sharing them, it's been like under, like it's moved them. And I'm like, so I don't know, something else is going on there. But the other thing is we talked about your archives and your insight. And if you are new to Instagram, this will blow your mind, because I remember when I'm like, what? So anyways, you're on your profile. And if you go to these 3 lines up here and you click on that, that's where your archives are, which Andrea was talking about. Like that's where your stories are. So every story you ever posted is there. Your insight is super helpful. This is where you'll find like your customers when they are on. You'll see like the best times to post. You'll see your activity. You can see like your most liked posts, who your audience is. That's really kind of neat, because it kind of helps you know if you're hitting your target market or not. So that's a good resource too. And then it tells you how.
You can only have the insight button if your account is like a business account, or do you get it for regular ones?
I don't know that it's on for regular. I have a creator account as well. And then, that was another thing. Yes, you can tie your 2 accounts together, and that is super helpful for stories. But when you go to post your Instagram, don't just post it from Instagram, because Facebook creates this weird album and puts it all into like this Instagram album. And so you just don't see it as you would if you were to just copy your content, copy your picture, and paste it to your feed.
Katie, are you talking about, here, maybe if I just dim my light. Can you see that? So I shared one of my posts. I took my post. Did you know you could move it?
Yeah, I think she's saying like you can, when you bump the wrong thing though, then it instantly sends all the stuff to the back. I've done the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a way around it.
I did notice that if you press and hold on something, if it's like half behind and half on the, like in front, if you press and hold on it, it brings it to the front, but I don't know how to like keep it in the front.
I just always make sure that whatever I want to be on top is the last thing I touch. So if I have a GIF and it's right in the middle and then I try to touch it, but I'm accidentally touching the shared post, I'll pull the shared post all the way down, grab the GIF, put it up top, put the shared post where I want it, and then I grab the GIF and I drop it and I move it and I make sure that I'm only touching that. I usually don't take my fingers off of it, just so whatever the last thing you touch is going to be the very top thing that shows up on that post. That's the only way I've figured out a way around it.
Did you guys know that you could change the color of these things? Watch, it's white, and now it's rainbow. I'm just holding down on it. Did you know you could do that?
On your text?
Is
But
it
I
a GIF?
Not my own text. It's one of the
It's like a GIF?
sticky face text. I just picked one,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and if you hold on it,
Candace, I know you've told me this before, but how do you, like, if I was doing a post, how do I get a picture on there?
Oh,
Like-
yeah. For iPhones, if you're like creating a story, you have your story thing open and you're creating something and you want a
Yeah.
picture from your camera roll to be on it,
Yeah.
you can go out of and go into your camera roll, and then when you select the picture, you know, you have like that box with the arrow up where you can like, you could send it as a text message, you can send it places. On an iPhone, there's an option that says copy photo.
Yeah.
Tap that and then you go back to your Instagram story, it'll pop up and it'll have the picture there and it'll say add sticker, and then now you can have it as like an overlay to the story. So you go in, you have a story
Okay.
open,
I don't have an iPhone. I have an Android, so
You can't do
Brittany?
that.
can't do that.
that's what I thought. I was like, God dang it. I know I tried to do it 100 times and I can't freaking figure it out.
Another thing
Damn.
that's cool about an iPhone, and I don't know, maybe you can do this. I don't think you can, Brittany. If you kind of flick down and you're just like, you can hit like a screen record button. I just Googled how to get that added on there. So then I can like tap into say I want people to understand that there's like plans. So maybe I'll tap into my Beachbody On Demand app or the nutrition app, and I can scroll it and have it recording my screen. And those are things I'll put in as slides too, like look at all these tools you get with it. So that's another tech thing with an iPhone.
I will say, be aware that there is an option when you are on the screen record. If you press and hold, you can have the microphone on or off. So be aware if it's on, because it's recording the sound around you also. And if you don't mute it, then who knows what randomness is going on in the background. But
Yeah.
I think Brittany brought that up one time.
Oh yeah. So Android, there are apps out there for Android that did it, and I was recording my screen and Jeremy was watching TikTok, and I had no idea that sound was involved, and I don't listen to with things with sound on. So it was like the next morning. It's terrible. It's terrible.
I always hit the microphone mute like button, the speaker button.
Or add music,
Yeah.
because that will automatically cover up whatever's in the background.
Yes.
or you
Alright.
or you should be able to edit it and then take the volume off.
Yeah. Anybody with other questions, comments? Good. We hit a lot of things. All right. Well, I will end the call then. Everybody have a good Tuesday.